Hello and welcome. I'm Shutapa Paul and I'm here today at the Agri Conclave, which has been organized by PhillipCapital, your partner in finance. And I'm very glad to have with me the MD and CEO of PhillipCapital, Mr. Vineet Bhatnagar. Thank you for speaking to us, sir.
My pleasure.
So firstly, you have a great event lined up, and what is your aim? What are you trying to achieve through this event?
I think it is in continuation with what we have been doing for a while now. Our sincere effort is to put together events such as this, wherein we allow our institutional equity clients to understand and appreciate something that is going on at the ground level, which perhaps could become a thematic investment idea for them for the next 18 to 24 months. Earlier, we had done conferences relating to hotel and tourism, also to specialty chemicals. This one is in a similar vein, because we believe that the policy making as well as the import of this particular sector in terms of the economic sensibilities for this country is only increasing. And from that perspective, we have put together an event wherein we have industry experts, those who have spent time, at the corporate level for the last 15-20 years to discuss the challenges, obviously the opportunities as well with the investment clients.
So I know it's a bit early because we're just getting started with the day, but what do you feel will be the key takeaways from an event like this? As you mentioned, if you can state some opportunities and challenges in this particular sector.
So I think one of the things that we want to validate for our clients is to again repeat the demand influence that the rural India has on the entire economic story of India. Sure. We often repeat the demographics, the democracy and the demand story of India. Today is an event where we want to validate whether the demand is really propelling or has a potential to propel if certain policy measures were to be taken. We also admit that in 2016-17, the present government in its budget did announce certain schemes, such as the one relating to the larger coverage of electrification of rural areas, improving the soil fertility, by coming out with soil assessment health cards for the farmers, and also talking about how to improve the yield, bring out warehousing facilities, bring in technology to disintermediate the levels of intermediaries that are there between the producer as well as the final mandis where the agriculture produce is sold. So we want to talk about all of it, right, more in open and in a more focused and dedicated manner. So I hope that our institutional clients are able to see that there is a potential demand of about $5 to $6 billion. Right. That could come about if right policies and investments were to be taken over the next 2 to 3 years. At the same time, also understand where the bottlenecks and the pain points are, such as the one in warehousing or the farm infrastructure or even in irrigation facilities.
Right. I mean, it's interesting that, there is a lot of attention now being given to post-harvest scenario for the farmer, and given that the topic that you've chosen, of course, is agriculture and warehousing and how they can work together. With the budget coming up, sir, what are your expectations from the budget this time? Do you expect to hear some big bang measures?
I do not actually focus too much about the big bang measures because, I don't think that all policy making or all announcements have to be really disruptive in nature, as long as they can identify what is important for a sustainable road ahead, in any sector, whether it is relating to the tax reforms or it is relating to rural education, moving from primary to secondary education, or even in agriculture. So I am a great believer in the fact that there has to be a continuity of policy attention rather than large, big announcements and things fizzle out in 1 or 2 years.
Talking about big announcements, how did demonetization work out for our agri sector? I mean, a lot of people, there was a lot of pain points there. Some measures were taken, but they came a little too late. How do you assess this big policy that
I think enough has been written and discussed and talked about how the poor banking infrastructure or ATM machine network in the rural and far-flung towns in India did create a source of panic or pain for some people in the country. But at the same time, I also want to point out that the immediacy of the demonetization as a source of problem is not the focus of the conference today at all. While we all also agree that the fading away of the demonetization issues is a reality, and over the next quarter or so, or 2-3 quarters, we would not be even talking about this particular event at all. The focus and a deliberate attempt today in the conference is to identify those bigger themes or issues that are actually going to propel this particular sector.
Sure.
We all understand that 50% of the population is dependent on on agriculture as their primary source of income, but we must also recognize that the contribution is only 15% to the GDP, right? And that confluence of inequity is the pain point that
has to be bridged.
That has to be bridged. So it is not a socialist attempt that we talk about, doing for our farmers and doing for our rural areas. It is the bottom of the pyramid. Yeah. If it moves up, there is going to be a rising tide, and it is the economics of this entire situation in India that needs to be understood by the intelligentsia and the urban. Urban elites.
Right. I mean, we are estimated to have around 14,000 households in the agricultural sector, which are working and contributing. And you're right that that gap needs to be bridged. My last question to you, sir, which I'd like to know about is, do you feel that the warehouse receipt finance will be a game changer? Of course, it has been around. I understand first it was around 5,000 crores. It's now moved to 40,000 crores, but nothing close to the agri credit which the government earmarked last year for 850,000 crores. I mean, that's a whopping number. Yes. So how do you think WRF will be a game changer in this?
I think it will be a game changer only because it is a very important part of the infrastructure. Right? And unless we do have the two, one is the physical warehouse facility, whether it is the liquid bulk storage capacity or even the transportation capability to move the agri from one part of the country to another, either for domestic consumption or to the ports for export. Nothing much will happen in terms of the efficiency and the realization in the hands of the producers. Likewise, it is the flow of credit, like any other industrial sector, into this particular sector or segment, which is going to be a decider. Right? A lot of us have looked at agriculture only as a priority sector in terms of getting pushed by the policy to lend to this particular sector. I think we have to start appreciating that there is economics and the economic sensibility that should be looked at to evaluate the viability of doing business with our farmers. And if there is transparency, if there is financing, if there is digitization, not in the loose way that we all talk about it, but if the infrastructure is available where the previous experience of fraud or mismanagement while handling the physical commodities is minimized because there is greater real-time information that is available at the warehouse level, at the transportation level. You are able to do the tracing of how the commodities are moving. That will generate greater confidence in the hands of the lenders. And that is exactly what is needed, not only for the warehouse financing receipt mechanism, but also for production.
True. Thank you so much, sir, for speaking to us, and have a great event.
Thank you.